Have you ever set a goal so clear it felt inevitable? You planned, you promised yourself, you even felt a strange fire inside. This time you meant it, but when the moment came to act, you hesitated, and then you didn't move at all. Instead, you scrolled. You cleaned your room. You convinced yourself the timing wasn't right, that you'd start tomorrow, but tomorrow became next week. And next week became never. And you don't even know why. You blame laziness, discipline, maybe motivation. But the truth cuts deeper. This isn't about laziness. It's about resistance. A quiet, invisible force that lives inside all of us. Not to protect us, but to prevent us. It's the voice in your head that whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not ready? What if people laugh? It's subtle, it's patient. It doesn't yell, it nudges. You feel it when you're about to take a risk. Start that business. Speak your mind. Tell the truth. Ask for more. It's not fear of failure, not exactly. It's fear of what failure means. It's fear of being seen trying and coming up short. It's fear of exposure, because the moment you try, you can no longer hide behind potential. Now you have something to lose, and resistance knows that. It feeds on that. Stephen Pressfield in The But it's more than laziness, more than procrastination. It's psychological armor. Some part of you believes that staying in your comfort zone means staying safe. And in a primitive sense, it's right. Because the moment you evolve, the moment you change, you threaten the version of you that's adapted to survive in smallness. You challenge the identity that's kept you safe. And that identity will fight back. That's why self-sabotage feels like self-protection. Because to the unconscious mind, growth feels like death. Resistance isn't random. It's not laziness or weakness. It's deeper than that, more ancient. It's biological, because once upon a time, standing out got you killed. Taking risks meant real danger, starving, exile, predators. You weren't built to chase dreams. You were built to survive. And your nervous system remembers. So today when you try to speak up, show up, or level up, your body doesn't see growth. It sees a threat. It triggers the same alarm system that once warned your ancestors stay low, stay quiet, stay safe. The result, you freeze. You doubt yourself. You delay action and call it waiting for the right time. But what you're really waiting for is certainty. And that never comes. Because resistance feeds on hesitation. It grows stronger in silence. It disguises itself as logic, but it's really fear wearing a suit. And here's the twisted part. Sometimes resistance doesn't show up when you're failing. It shows up when things start to go well. You finally gain momentum and suddenly you get tired. You start questioning everything. You pull back. Why? Because success comes with exposure. Now people are watching. Now expectations rise. Now you're on the hook. And a part of you still believes you're not worthy of being seen at that level. That you're an imposter in a role someone else was supposed to play. That voice isn't your enemy. It's your history. It's every teacher who made you feel small. Every parent who withheld love when you failed. Every memory where your effort wasn't enough. And now your brain replays those patterns anytime you reach for more. Not because it wants you to fail, but because it's trying to protect you from the pain of disappointment. This is trauma disguised as logic. This is self-doubt wearing the mask of caution. And if you don't recognize it, you'll believe it. You'll say, I'm just not ready yet. It's not the right time. I don't want to rush things. But what you really mean is, I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be seen failing. If resistance lived only in your mind, it would be easier to fight. But it doesn't. It lives in your memories, in your culture, in your family, in every system that told you don't be too loud, don't be too different, don't aim too high. It starts early. The moment a child speaks with confidence, someone says, don't be arrogant. The moment you show ambition, someone warns, be realistic. So you learn to shrink, to apologize for your dreams, to aim smaller, not because it feels right, but because it feels safer. And society rewards that. We celebrate humility, but confuse it with invisibility. We admire greatness, but shame people for reaching for it. How many times have you seen someone rise and heard people say they think they're better than us now? Who do they think they are? So instead of rising, we level ourselves down. We stay close to average, close to what's familiar, close to what won't threaten anyone. But the price is heavy. You become likable but hollow, safe but stagnant, surrounded but unseen. And when you do try to grow, when you take that first step toward your higher self, resistance doesn't just come from within. It comes from the people around you. You've changed. You're not the same anymore. You're obsessed. But they don't mean you've changed. They mean you're becoming someone they're not brave enough to become. And your growth confronts them with their own resistance. So they project, they mock, they minimize, not always out of cruelty, but out of fear. Your evolution feels like their failure. And in a world where connection feels fragile, losing approval can feel like losing love. So you back down, you dial it down. You hide the fire burning in you just to stay close to people who don't want to feel the heat. But here's the truth. You were not born to make everyone comfortable. You were born to become, to expand, to challenge the mold they tried to press you into. And yes, that means outgrowing people, places, versions of yourself. It means walking alone for a while. It means people misunderstanding you for a while. It means trading comfort for clarity. That's what resistance doesn't want you to realize, that your pain isn't a sign to stop, it's a sign you're breaking through. Most people don't fear failure. Not really. What they fear is becoming the version of themselves they've always imagined. Because success changes things, it demands things, it asks you to become someone new and leave parts of yourself behind. And that's terrifying. You've spent years building a version of yourself that the world accepted, a personality designed for survival, a mask shaped by approval and avoidance. But when you start growing, when you start showing up fully, you threaten that mask, you threaten the identity that kept you safe, and part of you will do anything to avoid that identity dying. That's why we sabotage ourselves, not out of stupidity, out of loyalty to the version of ourselves that once protected us. You finally get the opportunity you've waited for, and suddenly you're late. You ghost the reply, you forget the meeting, you pick a fight with your partner the night before. Why? Because some part of you believes you don't deserve what's coming, that you're a fraud, that you're not ready, that if you actually got what you wanted, you wouldn't survive it. This is the fear of expansion, the fear of having to live up to your own potential. Because once you're seen as capable, people expect more. Once you're known for excellence, you can no longer disappear into mediocrity. And so self-sabotage becomes protection. It lets you return to safety without having to admit you're scared. Because if you fail on purpose, at least it was your choice. At least no one can take it from you. It's easier to lose control than to risk never having it in the first place. But here's what no one tells you. Self-sabotage doesn't protect you from pain. It just delays it. It turns the sharp edge of growth into the slow bleed of regret. It keeps you stuck in the same cycles, with the same stories, telling yourself the same lie. Next time, I'll be ready. Next time, I won't choke. Next time, I'll finally follow through. But unless something changes, there's no next time, just the same fears wearing different clothes. Here's the truth you already know. No one is coming to save you. Not the perfect plan, not the perfect timing, not some burst of motivation that will finally make everything easy. Because it doesn't get easier. You get braver. You stop negotiating with the voice in your head. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop trying to kill the fear and start acting with it in the room. Because fear doesn't leave. Doubt doesn't vanish. Resistance doesn't disappear. But you can move anyway. You take the step. You risk being seen. You start even when your hands shake. And that moment, that's when things begin to change. Because every time you show up in spite of resistance, you train your nervous system to trust you. You rewire your brain to stop equating growth with danger. You start building a new identity, not one shaped by fear, but by follow-through. You stop waiting for courage and start collecting evidence. Each small win, each uncomfortable truth spoken, each risk taken, is a brick in the foundation of your future self. And here's the irony. The life you're avoiding by playing small is the only one that will ever feel truly like yours. You can't think your way into transformation. You act your way into it. You step into the unknown, and with every step you become the kind of person who can live at that altitude. Yes, people will misunderstand you. They'll question your path. They might fall away, but that's okay. Because the only thing more painful than outgrowing people is outgrowing yourself and staying anyway. You don't need to become fearless. You just need to become willing. Willing to fail. Willing to be wrong. Willing to be seen as you really are. Because on the other side of resistance is everything you've ever wanted. Not comfort, but confidence. Not safety, but strength. Not perfection, but power. The quiet kind, the earned kind. The kind that comes from knowing you faced the storm and didn't run. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Do the thing. Make the call. Post the video. Apply for the role. Have the conversation. Take the risk. Let the fear come. Let resistance scream. And move anyway. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not weak. You are becoming. And that is always a fight. But it's a fight worth choosing every single day.